Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden daily systems behind the profound peacefulness of Japanese homes. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to organize your place, the messier it somehow gets? It sounds totally backwards, but if we're being honest, you probably know exactly what I mean. Well, today, we're going to break down 5 specific, totally doable habits that change the game entirely.
Let's be real for a second and just empathize with that exhausting feeling when your house slowly turns into this silent, nagging to-do list, despite your absolute best efforts. I mean, a house never actually gets messy in a single day, does it? No, you wake up one morning and you just kind of feel it. The space feels heavier. You look around and see that Amazon box you've been meaning to break down for 3 days sitting on the dining table. Last night's dishes are chilling on the counter. A couple of random receipts are just sitting there next to the TV remote. Individually, none of these things feel like a massive problem in the moment, but when it repeats every single day, every single glance gives your brain a new reminder. Put this away, sort that, deal with this.
So here's the thing. We need to fundamentally reframe the problem. The truth is, our houses aren't actually full of stuff, they are full of unfinished decisions. Visual clutter isn't just physical material taking up space in a room, it is a literal drain on your mental bandwidth. Psychologists actually tell us that your brain has to constantly work to ignore all that extra visual information, all day, every day. That is exactly why, without doing anything physically tiring, just looking around in a messy house can make you feel strangely exhausted.
This brings us to a massive paradigm shift between the typical Western approach to messes and the Japanese mindset of systemic prevention. Most of us, we organize our homes after the clutter becomes visible. We react to it. Japanese homes, on the other hand, win the game before it even starts. They design their daily habits so that clutter almost never has the chance to form in the first place. Their primary focus isn't cleaning at all, it's clutter prevention.
Now, before we get into the actual habits, let's just bust a quick myth. You might be sitting there thinking, well, they must just have way more time or maybe bigger spaces. But Japanese people only get 24 hours in a day too. In fact, Tokyo has some of the smallest apartments in the entire world, extremely limited storage, and a notoriously demanding work culture. And yet, when you walk into a Japanese home, the very first thing you feel isn't just that it's clean, it's calm. The difference isn't about buying expensive storage bins or having this aesthetic minimalist decor. The real game changer is the system.
Okay, let's dive straight into habit 1, the value principle.
Everything really starts with this one Japanese concept, Mottainai. Now, when people first hear this, they often guess it just means to own less, but that kind of misses the mark. The real meaning of Mottainai is, don't let the value of something go to waste. This doesn't just mean owning fewer things across the board, it means actually asking yourself if an object serves a purpose in your life today, or if it should be respectfully let go, donated, or maybe recycled. It's really about respecting an object's value enough to let it go to someone who will actually use it.
Just picture that one chaotic kitchen drawer we all have. You know the one. It's got half-open spice packets, bundled up plastic bags, maybe a lidless plastic container. It perfectly visualizes the exact opposite of Mottainai. We keep half the things we keep, not because we actually need them, but because postponing the decision just feels so much easier. We tell ourselves, I'll leave it, I might need it someday. But saving things for later is quietly, constantly draining your mental energy. These objects literally start living rent-free in your head. When you apply the value principle, every object gets evaluated. And once a home only holds meaningful, useful objects, the next step becomes completely effortless.
Which brings us right to habit 2, give everything a home.
Let's do a quick little experiment. Where exactly is your TV remote right this very second? If you're suddenly picturing 3 different possible locations, maybe the bedroom, wedged in the couch, or on the dining table, you are experiencing the real issue firsthand. We so often think organizing means buying more cabinets and storage solutions. But the problem isn't storage. The problem is identity. Objects lack a designated identity in home. And when things don't have a specific home, they just make the entire house their home.
If you picture a typical Japanese family making dinner or doing homework, nobody is shouting across the house asking where the scissors or the tape are. Why? Because they never need to remember in the first place. Everything already has a designated place. When the place is fixed, the entire act of searching completely disappears. This frees up your brain for things that actually matter. So the lesson here isn't to go organize your whole house tonight, but maybe just pick one category, like your charging cables or pet supplies, and give them one permanent, undeniable home.
All right, let's move on to habit 3, the one-touch rule. There's this invisible mistake almost every single one of us makes on a daily basis. We don't actually lose things, we just make their journey unnecessarily long. Think about getting home from work and taking your wallet out.
You set it on the dining table. Later, you pick it up, walk over to the bedroom, and leave it on the dresser. The next morning, you're rushing around asking, "Has anyone seen my wallet?" The wallet was never lost. It just took an absolutely unnecessary trip. And remember, every extra touch is literally just future cleaning waiting to happen.
The trick here is to not let your stuff take unnecessary little journeys. It's a simple flow. Use it, return it. Done. Picking something up and completing its journey in one fluid motion is treated as a single, unbreakable action. Sure, it might feel a little slow at first, forcing yourself to walk all the way across the room to put the scissors exactly where they belong the second you're done with them, but within just a few weeks, by treating the use and return of an item as a single smooth action, you stop the mess from forming in the first place. You end up having to organize way less.
Let's shift gears a bit to habit 4, the mental reset. Have you ever walked through your front door, but your mind didn't really come inside with you? Your body is physically sitting on the couch, but your head is still totally stuck in a stressful work meeting or hyper-focused on an unread message. This is exactly why even a perfectly spotless house won't feel peaceful. Almost every traditional Japanese home has a small space right at the entrance called the Genkan. Now, most people think it's just a practical place to take off your shoes, but is actually a profound psychological reset button. It acts as a silent message to your brain. Work mode off, home mode on. Think about how most of us normally enter our houses. We burst through the door, phone in hand, replying to a text, carrying a package straight to the kitchen counter. Our body enters, but our mind is still miles away outside. The beauty of the Genkan is that it's a mindset you can recreate literally anywhere. You just need a clean mat, a shoe rack, and most importantly, to follow these steps. Pause for 10 seconds, take a deep breath, change your shoes, put the phone in your pocket, and then enter. This tiny, mindful entryway ritual draws an invisible protective line between your chaotic day and your mental safe space.
And finally, we arrive at habit 5, the micro-cleaning rhythm.
Most of us treat cleaning like this massive, looming Sunday burden, right? We tell ourselves, okay, this Sunday, I'm going to clean the whole house. Then Sunday arrives, you're exhausted, and you say, I'll just do it next weekend. Slowly, cleaning stops being a simple task and turns into this incredibly heavy burden. But the Japanese approach is to never let the mess build up long enough to actually need a deep clean. For them, cleaning isn't a stressful project. It's just a natural, effortless rhythm. The secret here? It's just 20 seconds. Breakfast is done? Wipe the table in 20 seconds. Use the bathroom? Wipe the water droplets off the sink right away. Taking literally 20 seconds to wipe a surface immediately after use acts exactly like compound interest. Small, consistent deposits yield massive results, saving you hours of intense, backbreaking labor later on. They don't repeat the result, they repeat the direction. This habit is all about consistency over perfection. They don't wake up and ask themselves that they feel motivated to clean today, they just instinctively follow their 20-second rhythm.
So let's pull all of this together with the real lesson, a complete system. If you look closely at everything we've talked about, we didn't just learn 5 disconnected tips today. We uncovered one logical, cascading chain reaction. We often think clutter comes from just buying too much stuff, but it really comes from delaying decisions. I'll deal with this later. And slowly, day by day, your house becomes a storage unit for unfinished decisions. The ultimate takeaway is exactly what this quote captures. Peace isn't something you decorate, it's something you build. You systematically build it into your daily habits by giving clutter a little less room to breathe and giving calm a little more room to grow. So, I want to leave you with this one question to chew on. Which habit are you going to build this week? Please, whatever you do, don't try to overhaul your entire house today. That is the exact opposite of what we've learned. Instead, just pick one habit to focus on. Maybe it's establishing a permanent home for your keys, or maybe it's just taking a 10-second pause at your front door before you walk in. Try it for a week and watch how it subtly but powerfully transforms your space. Because if peace is truly something we build, the only question left is, what are you constructing today? Thanks so much for watching this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.